Alright, so we're going to start with these guys. You got Hall and Nash here. These are the Ultimate Editions, the ringside exclusives that I pre-ordered forever ago, and I never got a shipping notice, so these just showed up and I didn't know they were coming, so that's a nice little thing to kind of surprise me that day. But yeah, you can see these guys have like the red and black colors that they had very early on. They got like Scott Hall with the like the blood dripping on his knee pads and on this one elbow pad, and the vest and everything. It says Outsiders on the back and on his trunks. And then you got Nash, says the Outsiders, like going down the leg and on the front with like a really, really early kind of working edition of the NWO logo that just never really got far. I mean, I think the logo they ended up using and branding is much, much better than whatever this is meant to be. But yeah, so they come with the WCW tag team belts. They come with like different hands, head sculpts and everything. These are really, really good. Getting it a little tighter here. Now each figure comes with two shirts. They both come with the same ones. So you got the classic NWO, you know, just regular white logo that we've seen millions of times. And then you got kind of an older like style Outsiders t-shirt with a picture of Hall and Nash on it. And this one, I actually like that they included both of them because then you can just swap it. Or if you want to use the shirts with like different figures, you can, because you're going to have, you know, one extra per figure depending on which ones you put on and everything. So it's nice to have the options. I also swapped the head sculpts on these too. These are kind of the more straight-faced versions. Nash looks a little bit more intense, and Hall's just kind of like, you know, staring off into space. I'm not thrilled with this head sculpt. I think I said the same thing with the Ultimate Razor Ramon. The other ones with a little bit more personality just, I think, have a better resemblance to Scott Hall. And this one is, you know, like I said, it's not terrible, but I don't love it. So here's kind of like the more expressive head sculpts. You got Nash screaming like he's angry, he's outraged, and he's gonna, you know, go powerbomb somebody. And then you got Hall, who's like very amused and happy and, you know, proud of whatever it is he's just done. Both figures come with like kind of these like C-grip open hands, and they each also come with a pair of like the two sweet hands, so you can, you know, have them posing and gesturing as you would with, you know, the Wolfpack kind of hands, all that kind of stuff. So these are great. Nash also has this kind of like cream colored elbow pad, which is accurate for this time. I kind of more think of him wearing a black elbow pad, but that might have been later. Maybe he wore it like for that first match he was in or something, I don't know. But yeah, he's got his tattoos and everything under there too, which you can see better with the elbow pad off, obviously. But yeah, really, really good. I think Nash is the exact same sculpt as the Diesel. I don't have the Ultimate Edition Diesel anymore. I gave that to Burnout Inc., I think, for it was like Christmas or something one year. The one from the New Gen set. So I can't tell you if like the face sculpts are the same with different hair or anything like that. I don't have the figure to be able to tell you that. Hall is very similar, if not the same, to the Ultimate Razor Ramon figure that came out like last year, I think. There are a few differences, which we'll get to. But first, let's finish looking at these, yeah? And here's the third head options. You got a smiling head sculpt for Nash. For me, on this one, the hair kind of like sits a little bit above the shoulders, so I wonder if this one is supposed to be used with the vest on, because otherwise it doesn't really quite sit flush on the figure. And speaking of the vest, let's get a better look at that NWO logo, or I guess that would be like the prototype NWO logo before we got, you know, the real one. So Nash comes with the two pairs of hands. Hall comes with three, and he's got like this, you know, kind of mocking, being scared head sculpt, because, you know, he would do that to taunt his opponents, like, ooh, I'm scared. And he comes with the hands that go along with that too. I like these. I think they did a good job translating it, and like the hands are pretty multi-purpose too. So like, you know, if you want them playing a keyboard, you can just have them jamming out. That looks all right, huh? So for the belt fans out there, they do each come with a tag team WCW belt too, which honestly, this is really, really well done. I don't know how authentic or accurate it is to the actual belt. I never really watched WCW that much, so, you know, somebody can let me know. But I like that they added like the gold tips to the end, so they actually made it look like it's like, I don't know, fasteners of some kind, as opposed to just leaving it black, which they usually do. But yeah, I mean, I like this. Again, no idea if it's accurate, but they are really, really nicely done. I don't think it'll fit around Nash's waist, but it will fit around Scott Hall's. So I'm going to bring in Ultimate Razor Ramon here to kind of show off some of the differences. I think by and large it's basically an identical figure as far as like the way, you know, the body and everything. Obviously the paint details are going to be different. You're going to look at a Razor Ramon versus a WCW Scott Hall. And they do come with different hands too, which you'll be able to swap. So Razor comes with fists, which Scott Hall does not. And he comes with like kind of the open hands for like doing his like Chico walk that he does, you know. You've seen his entrance, you know what I'm talking about. And he comes with the chains. Now, Scott Hall obviously did not come with some of this stuff. He came instead with the WCW era, the belt and the different vest and all that kind of stuff. Razor also comes with this Intercontinental Championship from, you know, his time as champion. It's kind of like a hair on it. So they both come with enough stuff to justify their value, in my opinion. So these are the unique head sculpts. They each both come with like this, you know, smiling one, and they both each come with like kind of the straight-faced stern one, which, like I said, I wasn't as big of a fan of. But these are really expressive. Obviously, I showed this one before with Hall, and the one with Razor is just kind of like an angry, you know, gritted teeth kind of looking one, which I actually really like. And now that you can see kind of the differences between the two, they went a little heavier with like the hair on the torso of the Scott Hall. I don't know if it's a different application or if it's just like they decided to purposely just go a little heavier with the hair design. I don't know. But yeah, they both look great. Lots of good things about each figure. And if you got them both, you can pop and swap heads and hands and whatever you want. So here's what I mean. This is the Razor Ramon angry head and the fists on the Scott Hall body, and everything looks seamless, works great. So if you do end up getting this Scott Hall, I definitely recommend going and buying the Razor Ramon figure as well, so you can, you know, use all the different parts and everything. It just takes an already complete figure and makes it like even more options and accessories and stuff for you. So here's Hall with a couple of older elite versions of Razor Ramon and Scott Hall. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that we've come a long way. There are some cool things about these older figures, obviously, but far and away the newer versions are better. These Ultimate Edition figures take everything that was good about Elites and just improves upon them like astronomically. And even modern day Elites improved on previous Elites because, you know, they just added a bunch of different things like articulation and the swap out hands and all that kind of stuff. So this is about as close to the Ultimate style Hall as we've gotten in the Elite line. I forget exactly what series this was, but this is an older one. I do like the ponytail head sculpt, and it looks like the gear is, you know, the same gear. Obviously, I think they changed a little bit of the paint applications and stuff, and the pads on the older one are like the bigger style elbow pads compared to the smaller ones. So if you prefer that, you can always swap the pads on and off, but yeah, far and away, huge improvement over here. And so here's some other Kevin Nash figures I have. This is the Wolf Pack. I believe this was a ringside exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, the Elite. This was really good. And this is probably what's making me think of the black elbow pad as opposed to like this kind of cream colored one that this one has. I'm more used to Nash kind of looking like this than the all red. So if they ever get around to an Ultimate Edition with gear like this, I'd probably double up and buy that one too. And then this is like a 2002, I believe, Kevin Nash from like when the NWO came back to WWE after being gone for a couple of years. And this one is a much improved version of like this kind of body type where he's got the double jointed pinless elbows and swap out hands and different stuff like that. And I believe this one also comes with a cloth NWO shirt as well. If you're collecting, you probably have a bunch of these NWO shirts. You can be putting them on all your figures, just like WCW was putting it on all of their wrestlers, huh? Huh? Yeah. But yeah, your primary differences are going to be like the head sculpts. Like these two both have like the ponytail head sculpt, whereas, you know, the Ultimate Edition has his hair down and everything. So you get different looks and different eras of Nash's career from all of his time in WCW and later WWE, and obviously earlier if you've got like the Diesel figures too. So yeah, obviously this one, the Ultimate Edition, I much prefer it to the Elites, and this one is really, really good. This one, you know, it was good for its time, but we've come a long way, like I said. Although I will definitely concede that the paintwork and the gear on this one do look really, really nice, so there's still a place for that one in my collection for sure. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what the Ultimate Edition one looks like with a black elbow pad, and yeah, really good. Alright, moving on to the figure of the year, the figure of the century, Ultimate Edition Vader. Something I never thought we were going to see, honestly. I love this. This is the standard edition. There's a variant as well, which we'll talk about, but when I saw these were available on Target's app, it was like 16 bucks and some change too, which is crazy. Like the Ultimate Editions are supposed to be like twice that, so I don't know what it is with Target. They were just like putting stuff on deep sale like the second it came out, and I definitely capitalized because I'm really, really happy about this figure. So he's got kind of like just a stern head sculpt with the mask on, sculpted on, and this is great. This looks just like him. So this attire that he's wearing is kind of like a WCW one, if I'm not mistaken. So he has a black mask as opposed to the red one, which we're all kind of a little more familiar with, I might say. But the variant is like a WWE like 96 era Vader, where he's got like the red V shape on his upper singlet, and that's the one that has like the red mask head sculpts and stuff like that too. So if you prefer that, you probably want to track down the variant. I like this one with the gear. It says Vader down the leg. It's got like the little circle logos on the knee pads and stuff. He's got the big black gloves and everything, pinless double jointed elbows, and as with the Ultimate Edition, you get like much better articulation in the torso. He can kind of like go side to side like that, and he's got the what do you call it, the butterfly joints as well to improve his range of arm motion and everything too. Plus you get the drop down hips too, which means you're going to be able to pull the legs up farther than you would normally. And that makes me think I'd be able to pose him on the second rope to do a nice Vader bomb. Yeah, pretty good. Comes with a second head sculpt, which is unmasked, and he's looking like he's yelling or screaming or telling everybody how, you know, he feels no pain and fears no man. But he also has like a loose, just kind of a rubber mask. Now this is different to the ones we've gotten before. The ones we've gotten before have also been designed to be like removable from the figure too. So like when you put it on, it looks a little bit bulky. It's almost like karate sparring headgear as opposed to like the leather strap mask that Vader really wore. But this one, they streamlined that process altogether. I don't know if anybody's going to bother putting this mask on this head sculpt, because he does just come with another head sculpt with this expression with the mask on. So here's what I'm talking about. This is the third head sculpt with the mask sculpted on, and you can see that it's pretty much just that other head sculpt we showed, but with the mask sculpted on. So if you were to try and put the mask on this head sculpt, you'd end up with something that looks basically just like this, except not as nicely done, in my opinion. So maybe a little redundant for somebody trying to put the mask on, but you know, do whatever you want. I don't know your life. So apart from the C-grip hands, he also does come with his like posing like Vader time hands, which I maintain are not accurate. He's supposed to have his thumb like tucked into his hand, like behind it, so that it makes a V shape, not like a weird three-way kind of, I don't know, whatever this is supposed to be. I think this is meant to be like a viscera hand and they just reused it. So I don't know, you could probably modify this if you wanted to. So that's what he comes with, not too much in terms of hands. But if you have other figures with similar kind of gloves, you can swap the hands and everything. So here's what I mean. Here's a couple of hands from different figures. I believe these are Undertakers, but you know, like I said, definitely passable. The skin tone does not match 100%, but it's, I mean, it's barely noticeable. And here's again with some different options. These are again, like, I think Undertaker, the recent Target exclusive, came with these open hands, and then this pointing one might be from like Ken Shamrock or somebody, I don't remember. But like I said, it doesn't 100% match the paint of the skin tone, but it works. It works well enough for me. Does come with a cloth cape too, with like a fur little drape thing over his shoulders. Nicely done. He's got like kind of a two textured thing. Like obviously this one is more of a, like I said, kind of a fake fur, and this one is just kind of a more sheer kind of regular old cape. And then he's got the plastic like clasp thing in the front. This just fits over his head easy, so it's really easy to get on and off. But yeah, nice little inclusion. Also includes a really old school style WCW heavyweight title. I believe this came with Ron Simmons at one point too. That might be the only other time I can recall this belt being included with anybody. I might be off on that. But I don't have this in my collection up until just getting this figure, so that's nice to have. It's really cool. Under no circumstances is this fitting around my man's waist. He's way too stocky, but that's, I mean, that's what Vader looks like, so can't be too mad about it. But yeah, this is a great inclusion, and he can hold it and look menacing as he tended to do. So here are some Elite Vaders that I have. This is what I was talking about before, where you can kind of see like the mask is very bulky on the figure because it's removable and everything. This is actually an upgraded version because the original mask was like a solid color. It was just a piece of plastic that you could put over him, like it didn't really have the paint details on it. So yeah, we've come a long way, like I said. So this is probably the more accurate mask for this gear. I think this is probably like an all Japan look. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not the like strap mask. It's more just like kind of the lace up luchador style. Really good, but again, you know, this is single jointed elbows. This is, they did start doing the implementation obviously with the different heads and hands at this point, but you know, previous Vader figures didn't have that. This was the Royal Rumble Elite, and up until the Ultimate one came out, I basically said this is going to be the best Vader figure we're going to get, and it's still excellent. Like double jointed pinless elbows, great paintwork. This head sculpt I believe comes with the variant version of the Ultimate Edition. The variant is actually very similar to this figure here, except I believe this one says Vader time in the red on the singlet, and the variant Ultimate Edition does not, which I think is an oversight. But you know, that's something I can correct if I do, or should I say when I do buy that Ultimate Edition variant. But yeah, this kind of has the more red style mask that I think most people are probably more used to with Vader compared to the black. But you know, again, great figure, but the Ultimate just takes everything and improves upon it in terms of its articulation and its detail and, you know, head swaps and all that kind of stuff. If you're curious, here's the Royal Rumble Elite head sculpt on the Ultimate body. And like I said, I think the variant basically has these style masks on the figure, so I believe this head sculpt probably comes with the variant. So yeah, looks good. And if you have this accessory, the Mastodon helmet, entrance gear, whatever this is, you can use it on the Ultimate Edition, but the eyes do not like line up with the holes in the mask for this. Like you can see the black of his mask straps are under there instead of actual, like, you know, eyes that see through. So it's not going to be a perfect fit, but I mean, like, it kind of still looks pretty good, so yeah. So It's up to you. So yeah, Ultimate Edition Vader, figure of the century. I love this. I haven't really been able to put this down since I got it. It's great. Alright, so jumping over to AEW Supreme. This is Sting. This is, I believe this was a Walmart exclusive. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was. But yeah, this is the second Supreme style figure that I got. The first one was Kenny Omega, and I really like that one, and I do really like this one. I do have a few things about it that I wish were slightly different, but we'll go over that. You can see here he does include his bat, and he includes a couple different shirts actually. This is the long sleeve one, which, you know, they Velcro up in the back too, so it's easy to get him on and off. And I like the design of this one. And here's the second shirt he has, which is a short sleeve option, which again, just Velcros in the back. Really nice though. I actually like these shirts a lot. They're both, you know, really, you know, simplistic black and white designs, but they work really well. Here's a little better, more up close look at the other one. I think they did a good job. I would say, like, you know, it would be nicer if they were a little bit more fitted to the figure. Like they seem a little baggy, but I'm not really mad about it because clothes at this scale, if they're like cloth goods, don't always, you know, just give you that form-fitting look that an actual t-shirt on a real person would. But still, you know, these are nice. I like this. And without either of the shirts on, he does have like his fully detailed wrestling gear on with like the scorpions and the tank top singlet style gear that he always wore. This is really nicely detailed. You can see like some kind of folds in the back of the cloth and everything like that. And you know, you got the articulation of the Supreme figures, so you get the butterfly joints, you get the pinless double jointed elbows and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really nice. There is the one thing about this figure that I've seen people kind of complain about, is that his body type looks a little strange, like his proportions are a little bit, I don't know, something seems maybe slightly off. I think that's basically just down to the fact that Sting was in his AEW run at this point, and this guy is like in his 60s, so he's not going to look exactly what you would picture, like, you know, 1998 era white and black Sting or anything like that. He's not going to look like that. So, I mean, to me, like, I don't think it looks particularly bad. I mean, it doesn't look like my mind's eye body type for like classic Sting, but it's not supposed to be classic Sting, it's modern Sting. I think I can see the point that's being made by the people who aren't like blown away by the body type, but yeah, those people can just leave the shirts on, and honestly I think it'll look good either way. It also comes with an entrance coat, which is like a pleathery kind of material with like gold detailing on the sleeves and on the front, on the collar, and on the back he actually has a scorpion design in red. So yeah, very nice. This coat is actually really, really nicely done, and I think it looks great on the figure. And again, if you want to put this on over like one of the cloth shirts, you can get a slightly different, you know, look for them. That's what I like about these Supreme figures, is they do give you a lot of options in terms of like, you know, just changing the overall look of the figure. Like that Kenny Omega one had like a completely different bottom half where you can put him in jeans or you can put him in his gear. So like Sting, very similar. You can change his shirts around, change his entrance gear, all kinds of stuff. And there's even more that we'll cover right now. So this is one of the heads that he comes with, and this is the one that I like the best. I leave it on there pretty much the entire time I've been messing with this figure since I opened it. I like the face paint. I think it's really nicely done. The fine details and everything look pretty spot on to me, so I do like that. It does kind of have like a lighter hair color too. The contrast nice against the flat black and white of the face paint. So yeah, this is really good. And like I said, I like the expression and the style of paint they chose for this one. So yeah, really good. So here's a different head. I believe this is the one that comes on the figure out of box. This is kind of like just an alternate style face paint design. And you know, it's interesting looking, but it's just not what I picture when I think of Sting. You can see like he's got black all the way, like covering like his ears and his whole jawline and everything, and kind of like down around, you know, the whole, looks like basically the black is like outlining his whole face all across his hairline and down like under his chin and everything. And you know, he's got some different kind of flourishes going on with like the sides of his face and above his lips and everything. It's an interesting design, but I don't know, this whole aesthetic isn't really what I think of when I think of Sting, so I kind of prefer the other head that was on there before. And then the last head sculpt you get is like smeared face paint, where it's like all worn off at the end of the match. He's like, you know, got it kind of smeared all over his face from being in a long fight. And I like this expression, and I like what they try to do, but again, I wish they had just kind of made all three heads have this style face paint, because as a, you know, stop motion guy, I could switch back and forth between heads depending on what expression I would want to get, and you wouldn't be drastically changing the face paint each time. So yeah, kind of a bummer in my opinion, but again, if you're looking for just different options altogether, like this is definitely something you might like. I will say this head sculpt though, I mean, they got him looking like Garage Inc. era Lars Ulrich, like he's out here suing Napster or something. Comes with 3 pairs of hands too. He's got like just regular fisted hands, which work really nicely, and they got the scorpion design on the gloves. He's got a pair of gripping hands, which are great for the accessories and stuff, so you can see he can hold the bat with no problem. It's almost like trigger finger looking hands too, actually, so maybe they wanted him to come with big guns or something. I don't know. And then lastly, you get the hands with like the fingers all splayed out, wide open and everything, with the scorpion and everything painted on the back of the gloves too. These would look great if you got them doing like a stinger splash or something. I always like when they include like big, expressive kind of hands like these, so looking great. And he does come with this mask accessory, so you can like put this on other figures, or you can just put it on him and then have him do the whole fake out thing where he takes it off and it's just like he looks the same underneath the mask and everything. This is pretty cool. It's just a nice little accessory that you can pretty much get a lot of versatility out of. You can use it. Kind of reminds me of like the old Toy Biz Sting that came with this. Was it Sting? No, you know what? I think it was actually Scott Hall that came with the mask, maybe. If I'm wrong, somebody will let me know. Yeah, we've seen like toy versions of this in like old WCW lines, so it's nice to get an updated version. Here's a couple other Sting figures that I have from years ago. This is like 2 Mattel ones that are, you know, basically Mattel and Jazwares run very, very similar in terms of scale and everything, which is great because you can mix AEW and WWE figures and not have it look weird. But yeah, this is the Starcade Sting. This was, what was this? Defining Moments, I think? This was the first like Sting figure that came out in the Mattel line, and everybody was like rejoicing in the streets when this one came out because, you know, we didn't think we'd ever see the day. And while this is not a perfect figure, I really do kind of like this one a lot. And then this is a custom that I made out of like a Target exclusive or something. See, this was like actually a more modern version of Sting that I changed the arms to be more muscular. And I changed the head sculpt to be like 98 era Sting as opposed to like 2014 or whatever this was originally based on. So I couldn't tell you what parts specifically this is, but this was the one I used in JWF Rite of Passage to fight Undertaker and everything. So basically this new Jazwares version is like a updated version on this gear, and you know, obviously you'll see they have a lot of similarities in terms of exactly what they look like. They got the singlet with the scorpions and everything on it. They got kind of the padded things on the legs going on, scorpion on the boots, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really good, nice upgrade. Obviously this one way more versatile, way more posable. The only thing, like I said, might not impress people is the fact that he's based on the physique of a 60-something-year-old man. A 60-something-year-old man who is still in incredible shape, mind you, so like we're not, you know, body shaming Sting here, but just be aware, he doesn't look like 1998 Sting anymore. Overall, I really like this figure. I just, like I said, my only minor little gripe is that I wish all of these head sculpts and different, like, kind of facial expressions had a consistent paint scheme with this one so that I could pop, swap, use them in animation and switch them on and off and everything and not have it look wildly inconsistent. Moving on to the Elite Kurt Angle. This, I think, is the Legends one, the new Target one. And again, just like the Vader, I found this on the Target app for like 16 bucks and, you know, brand new figure for deep discount already. So I was like, okay, don't mind if I do. If I had to guess, this was kind of based on his time, like around a year or two into his run when he was like world champion and like feuding with Triple H and The Rock and them. This is a great looking figure. I like the gear on this. It's like the more red, white, and blue kind of patriotic gear that he wore at the time, before he, you know, shaved his head and became like kind of wrestling machine Kurt Angle that, you know, you would know from his later WWE days, and then when he showed up in TNA, more kind of similar to that. But yeah, this is a great figure too. And again, this one, they implemented some of the changes in style for the Elites, like the double jointed pinless elbows. He's got extra hands, no extra heads or anything like that, but he does come with a shirt, so we'll get into all that. So in addition to the C-grip hands that he had on him before, he also has these kind of like wide open, just gesturing hands, which I do like when figures come with these. I think that, you know, it's great to just have all these options, like I keep saying. And he does come, if I can move the medals a little bit, he comes with this shirt. It's true, kind of a era-appropriate Kurt Angle shirt, I suppose. And again, just like a lot of the Mattel shirts and Jazwares stuff, it's just a Velcro deal in the back, so you can get it on and off the figure pretty easily. It's a little on the baggier side, but I don't think that's the end of the world. Like I said, you know, figure clothing at this scale is always kind of tough to get fitted. So yeah, here he is, no medals, no t-shirt, no accessories or anything. Just got kind of blue knee pads, red boots, and a really nicely designed singlet. Got the tattoo and stuff on his back, on his shoulder there too, which looks great. I've been in the market for a new Kurt Angle figure for a while. This is a much better option for me than the Ultimate Edition one. I did not care for the cloth singlet on the Ultimate Edition one, and I also did not care for the fact that they used the same torso for Kurt Angle that they used for like Bobby Lashley. That just makes no sense to me. And this is even, in my opinion, slightly too large for Kurt Angle. Like, I think like a Mr. Perfect kind of torso would be better, but I mean, it's not the end of the world here. What I will say is that I do like the proportions on this much better than that Ultimate Edition one, so I was happy to pass on that one and just get this one. Here he is with all of the other Kurt Angle figures, I think. I hesitated there because I don't know if this is all of them. I believe it is. So you got the old, this is the entrance greats one, which again, like I was saying about the Sting defining moments before, this was a big deal for people because this was the first like really nice Kurt Angle figure that we've gotten in the Mattel line. So I really like that one. The hair color is a little strange, like I much prefer the hair color on the new one, but still not a bad figure by any means. I really like that gear actually. That kind of debut look for him was always a favorite. This is like the Team Angle one from, I want to say like around the time he was world champion going into like WrestleMania, was it 20? 19 or 20, I can't remember, but like when he had Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas like on his team. I like this one a lot too, like kind of the bulky knee pads get in the way of some of the articulation, but the figure itself overall really nice. And then this is from his last WWE match at the WrestleMania some years ago, and this is kind of like reflective of like that wrestling machine style gear that he wore when he kind of transitioned away from the red, white, and blue and into like black, and you know, he's got the lower cut like amateur wrestling shoes as opposed to the big pro wrestling boots and everything. Really nice. I think I modified this too because I think he had some kind of a glove on that I just removed with nail polish remover because I didn't like it. But other than that, really nice figures. And here they are, fully kitted out, full regalia across the board. Yeah, really nice. I like a lot of these. I really just hope they go back to an Ultimate style figure that isn't quite as gigantic and bulky as the one that they put out. I know they could do it because they did the same thing with Eddie Guerrero when they put out the second one, and it was a much better body proportion than the first one was. And I think the argument there is like, well, technically that's based on his WCW run when he was smaller and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but like it's also just a much better, more accurate figure than the one we got. So if they just want to do that, they could be like, oh, well, it's Wrestling Machine Kurt Angle, he is slimmer, and it's like, whatever you got to do to convince yourself that it's a good idea to make that figure, go ahead, make it. I'll buy it if it's better. But yeah, these all look great. We got this Ultimate Edition Undertaker. Bought this for two reasons. Number one, it's because it was cheap. It was, again, kind of like what I was talking about with those other figures earlier. Like, Target just had this figure brand new, and it was like $10 off, even though it had like just come out. So I don't know what the deal is, what Target's doing, but hey, more figures for me. This is based on like his mid-2000s run when he had the WCW, well, it wasn't WCW at the time, it was the World Heavyweight Championship. But I wasn't even watching wrestling at this point, which brings me to the second reason why I got this figure, which is the alternate hands, because I wanted to be able to use like kind of the splayed open, kind of more relaxed hands. These ones that you'll see right here. I wanted to be able to use these with different Undertaker figures or with other figures that had these same style gloves. So, you know, inexpensive figure, really kind of a nice figure actually, and versatile use of various different, you know, accessories and stuff. So hey, not bad. Obviously got the cloth pleathery looking coat, and he's got the hat that comes off. So, you know, this is one of three head sculpts. One of three head sculpts that comes on the figure. And I like these head sculpts. Again, this is not like my time frame as a fan of wrestling, so like I don't know specifically what year this is based on or anything like that, but you know, it's undeniably, it's Undertaker. Like anybody who ever watched wrestling would recognize that. The second head sculpt he comes with is like when he's, you know, just ended the match and he's like pinning somebody, doing the tongue out pose. Yeah, I don't know about this one. And then the third one, just a very stern, kind of straight-faced expression, a little bit of menacing eyebrow action you got going on there. Again, really nice looking head sculpt, unmistakable. You know exactly who this is when you're looking at it, so this, I like this. It's nice. The figure has all the Ultimate Edition excitement you would want. It's got the better articulation, the drop-down hips, the double-jointed pinless elbows, all that kind of stuff. So really, really nice figure. Again, like if you're a fan of this era of Undertaker, you're definitely going to want this. And the World Heavyweight Championship. I believe we've seen this exact belt several times in the life of this line, so this is nothing brand new for anybody, but it does look nice, and it's always nice to get a championship with a figure. And then these are the alternate hands that I was talking about, where they're just kind of relaxed, open position hands. So, you know, good for grabbing somebody's neck or doing his entrance pose, that kind of stuff. Looks good. And so here he is with a couple other Undertaker figures. I've got kind of a WrestleMania motif going on here. So this is basically like post WrestleMania 13 when he first won the title from Sid. Undertaker was rocking this get up for a little while before he switched over to kind of this more classic looking, I would consider, about mid-97, and he would wear that till about the end of 98. He would actually wear this a little bit in 99 too, but he had different facial hair. But, you know, ended up more looking like this by the time you get to WrestleMania 15, which is his old big ministry gimmick and all that kind of stuff. And again, there's definite consistency across the board for Undertaker's character here. Kind of rocked a pretty consistent look throughout his entire career. So yeah, this looks right at home with other Undertaker figures you might have. So I especially like that, again, you get these hands that you can swap on and off with like the other Ultimates, or some of the more recent Elites give you that option too. I think that one does. And you know, any that you would probably find brand new today would give you that possibility. So that's nice. So yeah, all in all, these are all really nice. I'm glad I have them. Just wanted to showcase some of these figures. I haven't really put too much on the channel lately, and I've been doing a lot of animation lately, but you know, as you know, that takes time. So I wanted to get something up so that people could have something to watch if they were interested. And you know, I basically wanted to show these guys off because I really think they deserve it. They're great figures. I planning on doing some of this with like some new acquisitions across the board, you know, some new superhero figures, some new Ninja Turtles, different stuff like that. Just stuff that's been coming in over the last couple of months. I don't want to devote like tons and tons of time to this in like a Between the Frames episode, because that'll just be like 2 hours long of just me talking about figures that have come in. And yeah, you know, Between the Frames, I kind of like to have a little more variety. So that's how that's going to look next time around. So next time, yeah, we'll talk about a different group of figures that have come in while I continue to edit animation and stuff that I'll hopefully have some announcements on pretty shortly. All right, catch you in the next one. Later on.